Hello YouTube friends, welcome to this little area I call the back porch. This used to be really quite an untidy, muddy boots room up until last year when I took down the platform that was here full of plants and sorted out the plants, and I cleaned it all out and I stopped feeding the cats here. I now feed the cats in the other porch. They're happy, they don't mind where they get fed so long as they do get fed. And so I cleared this whole porch out, painted the walls pink, why not? Put some cupboards in here for all my craft books. So all my craft books are here now. And some lovely vinyl on the floor. And it's made this area a really pleasant place to be. I made some new curtains. Maybe some of you remember some of these videos from last summer. These were. I made some more of these postage stamp block curtains here that are all through the other side of the workroom there. And these ones are new, and it's amazing how those ones are faded and these ones are bright and amazing. So I wanted somewhere to put my spinning wheel and to sit and spin that wouldn't have to be put away every time I use it, and this is the perfect spot. And so what I'm making today, just a small amount of spinning today, just enough to make one thing. Now, many years ago, I don't know when, I spun this green yarn, all colours of green, and made it into a little scarf that just ties around and tucks in your coat in the winter time, and it's great. It works perfectly, except that the moth has found it and there's great big moth holes all over the place. Now I could mend it, and I think I will mend it. I think I'll do some visible mending, because they're how many holes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes, 6 holes. So in order to mend this, I'm going to have to crack on and do that. But in the meantime, I thought it might be quite nice to spin some wool to make a new scarf for this winter. So I've just carded this wool upstairs in the workroom upstairs. Now that's where Anna, my daughter-in-law, she's got her sewing machine up there. And whenever she's got any spare time, she's sewing away on her quilt. And you've seen that series maybe of making a quilt with my daughter-in-law, Anna. And so the carder's upstairs there. It's not on a very good table really, it's a bit wobbly. But I've just carded up these pink rolags. And they're just beautiful pink rolags. Let me give you a closer look. I mean, what's not to like? So today then, that's probably enough for the amount I need for a scarf. I'm going to get rid of that green one, pop my wool there. I'm going to do some spinning and chat with you. So I think before I do that though, I probably need to give myself a cup of tea. I've just made some. There we go. Now the spinning wheel's been sitting here in the porch since, well, since I finished it, since I finished the curtains and the cupboards and everything. It's been sitting here, and so it was a bit dusty and it needed oiling. So I've given it a really good oiling, and now it's running like a dream. Pop that there. It's just beautiful. It's running so well. You can perhaps hear it a little bit, but everything's beautifully oiled. And so there's always a few adjustments to make when you first start spinning, and the first bit of yarn's often a little bit lumpy, so I'll get away and do that now. And oh, hang on. Oh no, that's all right, that's correct. It's all good. If you're a spinner, look away now, because I don't do it often enough to get really good at it. So I'm like everything I do, I'm a bit good at it. I make the yarn that I want, and I'm happy with that. Let's take that up a bit more. So the spinning wheel, it's running so smoothly, and now that I've got everything in the correct order of tension, it's going well. And so every time I oil the spinning wheel or the sewing machine or anything, I always have a chuckle to myself about the Reverend Spooner. Now, you may have heard of spoonerisms. And a spoonerism is just when all the words are wrong and the meaning's changed. And they're attributed to this guy, the Reverend Spooner, who lived in Oxford and taught at the university there in the 1800s. And I was thinking about him, and I think that his mind worked so fast that it was too fast for his mouth, really. And he came out with all these strange double meanings or wrong meanings. And so the one that I always like when I'm thinking about oiling the spinning wheel is, "There's nothing I like better than riding on a well-boiled icicle." And you should look into the Reverend Spooner. He had an interesting life. I just think he was a very, very intelligent man whose brain moved too fast. When he was teaching at one time, these tales are all apocryphal. Who knows if they were really true? But there was a student who was lazy and slacking, and he said to him something like, "You've tasted 2 whole worms," instead of "You've wasted 2 whole terms." Anyway, oiling the spinning wheel puts me in mind of the Reverend Spoon. It's Sunday today, and it's a sort of grey midwintery kind of day. Sort of like the bulbs are coming up, and the hellebor's flowering, and the cyclamen and the snowdrops are starting to peep through. So we're on the right side of winter, but it's still pretty grey out there, so a bit of nice colour like this is a good idea. But I was just coming downstairs, and I looked out of the window at the top of the stairs there, and Eileen the goose is standing on top of the dam there, sort of like preening herself and flapping her wings. Now, Eileen lives in a really lovely big piece of land. She's got loads of a lovely ditch which is full of water for her to play in, and she's got acres of scrubby land to be in. But at this time of year, when all the vegetation's dying down a bit, she walks out to the fence, and there's a gap there. I can't find it. And she gets through this gap, and then she's got the whole of the lake to play on. The problem is, because she is a bird of very small brain, she can't get back in again. She can't remember where it is she gets back in. So she stands at the gate waiting for someone, me, to go and to see that she's out first of all, and to go and let her back in again. It's a daily occurrence. Fortunately, the farmer doesn't seem to mind. But some of the people who walk their dogs around the lake, they mind. Anyway, she's pretty harmless, really. Okay, let's get another one. Yes, and I'm going to... Oh, have I moved that down? Yes, I have. It's got little hooks where you move the wool down. I've done a whole series on spinning a few years ago now, but nothing much has changed about the way I spin. I still make lumpy yarn, and I still do it in the same way. This is merino wool that I'm spinning with here today. One moment. Just remembered I poured this out. Mustn't forget this. Very good. You just sit there. Thank you. Merino, yeah. It's I buy merino because it's not expensive. It comes in the most fabulous range of colours, and it's very easy to spin. And felt, you can felt it really easily as well, which is another good thing about merino wool. Now, of course, There's all sorts of fantastic sheep breeds that you can spin, really fantastic ones. But I'm not a fibre snob, not really. Not that those people are snobs, no, I don't mean that. I'm not fussy about fibre. That's not why I'm spinning, to experiment with different sheep's breeds, not at all. I'm doing it because, firstly, I really enjoy the relaxing activity. I love it. It's one of the most relaxing things I do. I mean, when I'm sitting behind the sewing machine, that's pretty good too. If I've got a big stack of blocks to sew together, that's like my happy place. But this is, it's just lovely. That whole thing, I say it before and I'll say it again, get out of your head and into your hands. And whatever's going on in the real world, and there's plenty, lots going on, you can get it into perspective a little bit, and that's why I think I like spinning almost better than sewing. So I put all sorts of bits of pink in here. Some very pale pink is coming through at the moment, and even some little bits of purple. And so I'm going to just make 2-ply. I don't spin thin enough to ever ply more than 2-ply. I'm not a great spinner, but this will make a little scarf to go around my neck this winter, for what's left of the winter. But I'm happy with that. So when I moved everything around in the sitting room and made this little room here, what should we call this room? Should we call it the spinning room? That's what we're doing at the moment, the spinning room. I moved all my craft books here, and I'd had these books on the shelves for a long time. And do you stop seeing things? I do. If I've got something hanging around for a while, years, I just stop seeing them. So moving them all and organising them all made me look at each one and reevaluate what I've got here. I've got some lovely, lovely books here. Enough books to inspire me for the rest of my life, really. Let's just move this on again. Oh, I'm liking this pink. I think it's going to look... oops, a daisy, just dropped one. I think it's going to look lovely. It's going to look warm as well as being warm. Now, when I get onto the knitting part of this, I'll tell you, I'll give you the pattern. It's not complicated. Not at all. Yeah, so I've got some fabulous books, but maybe it's a time to sort out some of these books and move on the ones that I haven't opened in 10 years. Oops. Uh-oh. Just nearly split. Just nearly got a problem there. It's all good. My well-boiled icicle. It's going very well. So I could be some time. I'm going to make 2 full bobbins of this pink, ply it together, hank it all up. I'll leave a link in the description below to the little series I made about spinning, because that's what I did in that series. I made yarn, I hanked it up, I washed it, and then yeah, I probably knit it up into something for Agnes, my granddaughter. She's had a few of my hand knit things. Oh, and then another thing that I need, in fact it's here, I'll show you. This is my, oops a daisy, come on, this is my teapot with its little knitted tea cosy. I'll pour myself a bit more in there. But it's an enamel teapot and it gets really, really, really hot, and so I can't lift it up. So I have this, which is, I spun this yarn, I knitted this yarn, and then I felted this yarn, so that what I've got is a couple of pot holders, and these are just perfect size. So if there's yarn left over from this scarf, I might make another pot holder, because they're really, really handy. Yeah, they're really good. And you can see there, can't you, how well it felts, which makes it really thermal. It's a nice view from out of this window too, a different view. See the goose when she's walking along the top of the dam. And I can see the wintry trees just starting to think about waking up again. There's a forsythia, it's beautiful forsythia out there, and a hazel, which has hazelnuts on it. First year I had hazelnuts. Just look at how many hazelnuts I got. They're sweet and delicious too. So they'll all be waking up again soon. So I'm all set up for plying now, and as explained in the video that I'm going to leave in the description below about plying, I've spent all that time putting twist into the pink yarn in one direction, and now I'm going to put two strands together and twist them in the opposite direction, so it's like taking the twist out and you end up with that sort of barley sugar type look on the finished yarn. And so in order to take the twist out, I have to make the wheel go in the opposite direction, and so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get the two strands here, which are on my Lazy Kate. There's a little bit of build up of the last threads here on the last time I used this, so I'm just going to take that off because it will not go through the orifice. There are some fabulous words in spinning, there really are, and so I need to get rid of this little build up of fibre here. There we go, that's okay. There we go now. Okay, so the wheel has to go in the other direction. And then, I don't know what that is. Oh, that's fine. And much, much faster than when I was spinning. Applied all of that pink wool. It's a 2-ply yarn now, and I put it back on the Lazy Kate, and this thing is called a niddy noddy, and its two bottom and top pieces are offset at right angles to each other. Now because it comes apart for packing away, these are very, very loose, so I've jammed them in with a little bit of fabric so that they don't move. That's worked really well. Okay, now here we go. This is just flowing freely on the wire thing here, and I'm just going to attach that to that end there, and away we go. So you've always got to remember every time you do this, that's it. That's it. Okay. And it looks like you're tangling it in knots, but you're really not. This is coming together really well. And this is what makes a hank, and that's what we need to wash and hang to dry, and then we can roll that and knit from it. I like the colour very much, and when we look at the hank later and see all those colours coming through, you'll enjoy it too. Okay, so I'm just going to keep doing this till it's all off the bobbin. Get a mesmerising rhythm going. I wonder who first came up with this. I think it's probably a really old thing. The whole idea of spinning, centuries old, isn't it? Okay, so the next stage now is to tie all those together. Okay, so I'm going to cut 4 lengths of a different colour yarn and then tie these off here. So it's easy really. Split that like so. And then tie it like that. Again. And now it just slips off like that, and you have a beautiful hank of yarn. So the next thing I need to do with this now is wash it and hang it. I usually hang it in the bathroom with a weight on the bottom, and then that'll be ready to knit with when it's dry. So what I'm going to do with this then is the scarf, and there's enough on here to make a scarf, and the reason why I confidently say that is I'll just stop knitting when I get to the end. Mm-hmm. There's not really a pattern as such. So I'm going to get on with that over the weekend, Anna.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
I definitely...
You prefer winding?
Winder, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I don't mind either one. That's beautiful.
Oh, look at it.
Yeah.
It's a work of art.
It's a little purpley. The pink one's a little bit purpley, hasn't it?
I like the splashes, like the tomato red.
Yeah, and I used all the red fibre I had. I think I would have put more in if I'd had more.
Yeah, it's lovely.
But that's it. Thank you so much for doing that.
No worries. I can't wait to see it. So beautiful.
So Anna and I wound that wool and then I knit it, and I've made myself a long thin scarf. Honestly, it's the simplest pattern. I'm not even going to call it a pattern. But this is the cast on here, and I knit 3, cast on 3, and then I increased at the beginning and end of every row, which makes this very long, thin, triangular shawl here. Very long. And it's lovely and warm on the back of your neck, and then there's just a little bit to tuck down in front here. And so I'm really pleased with that. I spun just enough wool to do that with, but also because I had the spinning wheel out and I was really, really enjoying spinning, I did another little project which we filmed and is now over on the Patreon channel. I think that'll be on the Patreon channel this Friday. And I made some of my lovely little pot holders for picking up my tea or getting things out of the oven. And so you can see all about that little project over on Patreon. But for now, this is finished. I'm very pleased with it. And I think I might go for a little walk. What do you think?